Hi everyone, this is the start of my Booktubeathon reading vlog, and I wanted to start off this video by showing you all my TBR. I haven't posted a TBR video for Booktubeathon because I just posted my summer TBR, and a handful of the books that I mentioned in my summer TBR is in my Booktubeathon TBR. So I figured I'd just show the books that I wanted to read at the beginning of this vlog. If you don't know what Booktubeathon is, it is basically a week-long readathon created by Ariel Bissett, and this summer it's taking place between July 30th to August 5th. Today is actually Sunday, so it's the day before Booktubeathon actually begins. But I just wanted to film my TBR today so I'm not wasting precious reading time filming it tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and show you all the books that I plan on reading. There are 7 challenges for Booktubeathon. The first one is to let a coin toss decide your first read. The first 2 books that I'm deciding between for this challenge is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan and Sheets by Brenna Thumler. These are very different books. This one is a graphic novel and this is an adult contemporary book. I'm going to do this for heads because there's a face on it, and then this for tails. This is my quarter. How do you even flip a coin? It's heads! I didn't flip that coin very well, but it is heads, so I'm going to be reading Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. This book doesn't look very long, but it's actually over 500 pages. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to read this book. Usually I read like 1 or 2 books a week, but since this is 500 pages, I don't know how long it's going to take me. All I know about this book is that it follows our main character Rachel, who agrees to spend the summer in Singapore with her boyfriend, who happens to be crazy rich. I'm super excited for the movie to come out, so I can't wait to pick this book up, and I really hope I enjoy it. The second challenge is to read a book about something you want to do. For this challenge, I chose Moxie by Jennifer Matthew, and this book follows a girl named Vivian who creates this feminist zine that she distributes anonymously to her classmate, and because of that, that creates kind of a feminist revolution at her high school, and that is something that I would love to do. So the third challenge is to read and watch a book to movie adaptation, and I'm going to cheat a little and go with Crazy Rich Asians because this is being adapted to a movie. The movie isn't coming out till a couple weeks after Booktubeathon, but I am still going to see a book to movie adaptation, just not for this one. I'm going to be watching The Darkest Minds on August 3rd, which fits perfectly within the Booktubeathon week, so I'm going to be watching that movie instead. So I'm still reading a book that's being adapted to a movie, and I'm still watching a book to movie adaptation, so loophole. The fourth book is to read a book with green on the cover, and I'm going to go with A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is a pretty big book, probably not a good choice for a Booktubeathon, but I really want to read this book, and so I'm choosing this for this challenge. The fifth challenge is to read a book while wearing the same hat the entire time, and the hat that I chose is this one that says Books Before Bros. I got this hat during Book Expo. It has the word books on it, so I figured that it'd be fitting for Booktubeathon. So I'm going to be wearing this hat while reading Sheets. I don't like wearing hats. This is a pretty short book, so I know that I'll get through it quickly. I think I'm going to pick this book up after I finish the first book. I know I can finish this book really quick, so it'll make me feel more accomplished during Booktubeathon. This story takes place at a laundromat, and it follows a girl named Marjorie who feels very lonely, and there's also this ghost at this laundromat. The sixth challenge is to read a book with a beautiful spine, and I'm going to go with Autobiography by Christina Lauren. The cover itself is beautiful, but the spine is also very beautiful. This book follows a character named Tanner who has moved to Utah, and he's bisexual. He ends up taking this writing class where he meets another character named Sebastian, who is a Mormon and has recently sold a novel. Sebastian is actually a mentor in this class, and Tanner begins to fall for him. I know that Sebastian isn't necessarily a teacher, he's just a mentor, but I usually hate reading the teacher-student falling in love trope. But I've heard amazing things about this book, so I'm excited to pick it up and see how everything plays out. And the very last challenge is to read 7 books, so I have 2 more books that I wanted to show that didn't really fit any of the other challenges. The first one is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This is a middle grade book following a character named Cassidy who almost drowned, and after this incident she can pull back the veil between the living and the dead. Her parents are the hosts of a TV show exploring the world's most haunted places, and so because of that they are moving to Scotland. And the last book on my TBR is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book could also fit the challenge of reading a book with green on the cover. I've heard amazing things about this book, and I don't think I want to actually read this book during Booktubeathon, but if I somehow miraculously get through all these other books, then I'll pick this book up. But I'm definitely in no rush to read this book because I've heard amazing things about it, and I want to enjoy every moment of it and appreciate it for what it is and not feel like I have to finish this book as soon as possible. Even if I don't end up picking this book up during Booktubeathon, this is definitely going to be the next book that I read after Booktubeathon ends. These are all the books on my Booktubeathon TBR. Let me know if you've read any of these books in the comments and what you thought of them. I will see you all tomorrow for the very first first day of Booktubeathon. Good morning everyone. It is officially day 1 of Booktubeathon. It is Monday and I have to go to work soon. My supervisor is actually off work all week and the administrative assistant is taking a day off today. So I'm covering for the administrative assistant, so I'm going to try to get reading done while I'm at work. Hopefully that works out. And then, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm going to be starting Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. That's my update for today. I'll talk to y'all later once I get back home from work. It is now a lot later. I got home around 6:45 p.m. and I just finished eating dinner. So I wanted to update you all on what I've read so far. So I actually got through about halfway through Crazy Rich Asians. Also, fun fact, I'm using a Lacey from my birthday as a bookmark just because, why not? I have tons of bookmarks, but I always end up using like random pieces of paper or like receipts or anything as a bookmark. So yeah, this is my bookmark. It's really cute though. It has 2 dogs on it. Anyways, I am on chapter 10, and which is 254. And I'm really enjoying this book so far. I think the family dynamics are really interesting. There are a lot of family members, so sometimes it can get confusing as to who's related to who. But there is a family tree at the beginning of the book, so that has been pretty helpful to refer back to. As you can see, there's a lot of names, but I like how there are like footnotes, and the footnotes are really funny. Anyways, the family dynamics are really fun to read about. I really like that there are some Cantonese words scattered throughout the entire book. When I see them, I don't always know what the words are saying, but once I refer to the English definition in the footnotes, the Cantonese word comes to mind, and it's just really nice to be able to do that. The only time I've had this experience is reading Outrun the Moon by Stacey Lee. The main character in that book is Chinese American, and so you would see Cantonese words scattered throughout that book, and that was just really nice. And also with that book, I listened to the audiobook so I could hear the Cantonese words being spoken, and that was just such a great feeling to, you know, be able to hear my own language in a YA book. I'm not fluent in Cantonese or anything, but I know like basic phrases and words. Now that I'm about halfway through this book, I've been picturing how I would visualize this once the movie comes out, and I just can't wait for the movie to come out just to see all these family members and to see lavish houses and all this nice stuff that these rich people own. I don't know, I think that would be a really cool thing to see on screen, and I just can't wait to see all these Asian actors on screen. I'm going to read a little bit more before I go to bed, but right now I need to go shower. It is now 10:20 p.m. I'm about to head to bed pretty soon because I have to be up like at 6:20 a.m. for work tomorrow, and I got like 5 hours of sleep last night, so I'm pretty tired. But for an update about Crazy Rich Asians, I'm on chapter 17 and that's on page 310, so I read like 60 more pages since the last time I vlogged. I am really hoping that I can finish this book tomorrow so I can start a new book. It is now Tuesday, it's about 7:20 a.m. and I'm about to head to work pretty soon, so I probably won't get home from work till like 4 p.m. but I do plan on reading while I'm commuting to work. It is now about 4:30 p.m. and I have finished Crazy Rich Asians, and I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a really fun read. I got through it really quickly, and I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I'll talk more about my thoughts on this book in my July wrap-up, since I did finish this on the last day of July. The next book that I'm going to be picking up is Shades by Brenna Thumler. This is a graphic novel, and I'm also going to be wearing a hat the entire time to complete this challenge. It's currently 7:12 p.m. I'm finally going to start reading. I spent like the last 30 minutes to an hour responding to an email, and then I spent like half of that time drafting an email. I don't know about y'all, but whenever I have to send an email to someone, I always read it over and over so many times before I actually send it. And the email that I had to send was a bit lengthy, so I spent even longer typing it up and then reading it over and over. So now I'm finally going to get started reading Sheets by Brenna Thumler. Gonna put my hat on. Look how cute the cover is. I just want to take a moment and appreciate the colors that are used in this graphic novel. It's very pastel-like, and I just really love the look of it. Despite the pretty bright colors that are used in this graphic novel, the tone of it and what's happening so far is pretty somber. The main character in this book, her name is Marjorie. She's 13 years old and she's basically in charge of her family's laundry business because her mom has passed away the past spring. Even though it's not explicitly stated, I believe her dad's depressed because he's not very involved in managing this laundry business. And Marjorie doesn't seem to have any friends either. So that just kind of makes me sad. But I'm hoping things get better for her. And there's also chapters told in a ghost point of view. So these are what the pages look like in the ghost point of view. This ghost is named Wendell. He died pretty young. But his chapters are basically introduced with him sitting in a circle with a bunch of other ghosts talking about how they died. The name of the group is called DYE. I just noticed that. It's spelled D-Y-E and it stands for Dead Youth Empathetics. These are the colors that are used for his chapters and I really like this contrast of colors. I don't like wearing this hat while reading because I like to lean down, and every time I'm leaning down the hat starts to come off and that's just kind of annoying. But I'm already on page 70 of this book and it's been like 10-20 minutes. I don't know. It's about 8:15 p.m. I just finished Sheets. I did take a couple breaks to check my phone. I thought the artwork and the colors were beautiful throughout this graphic novel. The beginning of the story is pretty sad, but I do really like how it ended and how Marjorie and Wendell became friends. I don't know, I just felt like the plot was a little bit lacking. I don't really know what else to say, but I think I'd give this book like a 3.5, maybe a 4 stars. Since I finished the graphic novel, I can finally take off this hat and say that I have finished 2 challenges. The next book that I plan on picking up is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. Another story about ghosts. I'm not going to start this book now. I might start a little bit of this book before I go to bed, but right now I really want to catch up on some booktube videos since everyone has been posting booktubeathon videos and I'm just really behind on booktube videos, so I'm going to try to catch up a little bit on that. It is now Wednesday. It's about 8:30 p.m. I got home pretty late because after work I went to go get dinner with my cousin, and so I was just spending time with her for a few hours, but now I'm home. And let me update you all on how far I've read with City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. I'm a little bit more than halfway through. I'm almost done with this book actually. I'm on page 201. I'm hoping maybe I could finish this book tonight, but if not tonight, then definitely tomorrow. I actually don't work tomorrow and Friday, so I have 2 days off from work, which I'll be spending reading as much as I can. I don't read a lot of middle grade and I don't read a lot of like scary stories. This is definitely kind of spooky at times. The whole veil aspect in here where it's like the in-between the dead and the living, it's definitely a very fascinating concept and place to read about. The story does take place in Scotland and I'm really enjoying the setting. I also really like Cassidy's best friend Jacob, who happens to be a ghost. Cassidy is learning more about why she's able to pull back the veil that separates the living and the dead, and learning about everything in general is very interesting. So that's pretty much my thoughts for now. It's Thursday now. It's about 10 o'clock a.m. in the morning. Like I said yesterday, I don't have work today or tomorrow, so I'm trying to get as much reading done as I can within these 2 days off. I did wake up like at 8:15 a.m. but I was still feeling pretty tired, so I decided to just stay in bed for a little bit, and I didn't get out of bed till like 9. I just finished eating breakfast and now I'm going to continue reading City of Ghosts. Pretty much where I stopped yesterday, the story was definitely starting to pick up and I'm really excited to see where the story goes. It's about 11 o'clock right now and I just finished City of Ghosts. I really enjoyed it. This book is almost 300 pages and I thought that the second half of the story was really good, especially the last 85 pages because that's when the story really picked up and things started happening. Overall, this was a really good middle grade book. With this book, I really enjoyed the characters and I love the atmosphere of the story and that it takes place in Scotland, but I felt like the characters were very simple and they weren't really fleshed out. And with the overall story, I felt like it was also pretty simple as well. I felt like there could have been something added to the story that would have made it more engaging. I don't read a lot of middle grade, so I don't know if it's because that's middle grade that the story and the characters were fairly simple, but I still really enjoyed the story and I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. This is the first book in a series. I'm not sure how many books will be in the series, but I'm excited to see where the story goes. The next book that I'm going to be picking up is A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is a pretty big book, so I feel like I might spend a few days reading this one. This book is about 450-ish pages and I'm hoping that I can get halfway through it by the end of the day and then finish it tomorrow. tomorrow, if not, at least latest by Saturday. This is the third book in An Ember in the Ashes. I've recently reread the first two books within the past couple months, really enjoyed my reread of them, and it just reminded me how much I loved An Ember in the Ashes, so I'm definitely excited to get into the story and see what happens next. Gotta take off the dust jacket before I read because I don't like reading with the dust jackets on, so... So it's about 8:30 p.m. and I'm only 80 pages through A Reaper at the Gates, so I just haven't been reading a lot today. I keep getting distracted. So there goes my goal of trying to get through halfway through this book before the end of the day. I don't think that will happen at all because I'm right here with the book right now, and I actually have plans tomorrow to hang out with a friend because I haven't seen her in a while, and so I probably won't get a lot of reading done tomorrow as well, but that's alright. But yeah, that's pretty much my update for now. I'll talk to y'all later. It is now Friday. It's about 8:44 a.m. in the morning. I did wake up like an hour ago, which is pretty early for a day off, but I'm meeting a friend at 10 and we're gonna go biking. I've not been biking since I've been in Vietnam. And not gonna lie, my biking experience in Vietnam was kind of traumatizing because the bike that I was riding was very tall, and so every time I would brake, my feet couldn't even touch the ground, so I would like fall over. And since the bike was so tall, it would be hard for me to get back on it to like start pedaling because I'll just constantly fall over because the bike was too tall for me or I was just too short for it. And so trying to bike in Vietnam's traffic where there are motorbikes constantly weaving in and out of places, there aren't any official lanes or anything. So that was kind of scary, but I am in Chicago and we're going to be riding bikes along the lakefront, so there are bike trails for that, so that would be nice because I've never done that before and I've lived in Chicago my entire life. Yay for new experiences. I'm pretty nervous for this because I do know how to ride a bike, but I'm just not very good at it. To give an update on where I'm at with A Reaper at the Gates, I did read a little bit last night, not a lot, but now I'm on page 137. I'm going to be leaving my house in like 45 minutes, so I'm going to try to read a little bit more before I head out. Like I said last night, I probably won't get a lot of reading done today because I'm not sure what time I'll get home. It's 6:02 p.m. I got home from hanging out with my friend around 4. I immediately took a shower because I was sweaty. So to talk a little bit of what I was doing for most of the day, my friend and I basically biked starting at the beginning of the lakefront and we went all the way to Chinatown. We biked like a total of like 12-13 miles. We had dim sum, we had some bubble tea. My legs are so sore and I don't know if this is TMI or not, but my butt hurts. Just sitting here kind of hurts too. Luckily like my bed is like cushioned and everything, but every time I put pressure on the area of my butt where I was sitting on the bike seat, it just hurts. And then we were gonna bike all the way back to our original starting point, but I just could not do it. I just didn't want to have to deal with, you know, making sure I'm not going to hit a pedestrian because there are pedestrians walking on these bike trails as well. And on the way back, every time I would hit like a little bump, it would just hurt so bad that I just couldn't take riding a bike anymore. So I just couldn't continue biking and I took the bus and train back home. Needless to say, I never want to see a bike ever again. So anyways, enough of my biking adventures. I was gonna go see The Darkest Minds this week because it just came out today, but my best friend who's like my movie buddy isn't free because she's taking summer classes and she has finals next week, so she's unable to go see a movie with me. So unfortunately I won't be seeing The Darkest Minds this week, and that means I probably won't finish one of the challenges because one of them is to read and watch a book to movie adaptation. But also MoviePass recently has gone through a lot of changes that aren't super great, and so with the new changes there are like reduced availability for some movies, and some of the really popular movies you can't see using the MoviePass. And where I live, The Darkest Minds isn't available on MoviePass. Like, it's not even blocked out like the movie Mission Impossible or Christopher Robin. It's just not on the app at all. So that's really disappointing. I do plan on canceling MoviePass soon once the semester starts because I just won't have time to go see movies. After I took a shower, I took like a nap for an hour and a half. I was just so tired, but I'm up now, and right now I just have to respond to an email real quick and check with my schedule for stuff coming up in the semester. But after that, I'm going to finally continue reading A Reaper at the Gates. I'm currently on page 170 and I'm about to read a chapter from Laia's point of view. I am really enjoying this book so far. I'm currently on page 197 and the character throughout the series series that probably intrigues me the most is Cook, because she's a character that's constantly popping in and out of the story, and we don't really know much about her character and her background, so I'm really like interested in learning more about her character, and I'm not sure if we'll find that out in this book. It's almost 11 p.m. I'm gonna go to bed because I'm really tired, but to give an update on A Reaper at the Gates, I'm currently on page 303. I have this much left in the book, so I'm hoping that I can finish this tomorrow in the morning. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. I do have work tomorrow, but I don't work until 5 p.m. so I have most of the day to get reading done. I definitely won't be completing my TBR or finishing all the challenge, but I did get a lot of reading done this week and I'm really proud of that. But also one thing that I've been doing that I haven't talked about in the vlog yet is that I've been listening to the audiobook of Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I had about 6 hours left before Booktubeathon started, and now I have about 37 minutes left, so I think I will definitely be finishing this audiobook before the week ends. So that's something I've been doing. Usually I like to switch between listening to an audiobook to reading a physical book, and I tried to look for audiobooks for all the books on my TBR, but none of those were available from Overdrive, and I was already in the middle of Clockwork Prince before the readathon started, so I decided to just continue that. So now I'm gonna go to bed. I'm trying to wake up tomorrow by like 8:30 so that I can get some reading done. Hi everyone, it is Saturday. It's almost 9:30 in the morning. I'm going to leave the house for a couple hours so I can run some errands with my dad. I definitely need to make a stop at Target to buy some school supplies because the semester is starting really soon. But I am going to be bringing my book with me so that I can continue reading it. So it's about 12:15. I just got home from running errands with my dad about 10 minutes ago. And while in the car, I finished reading a Laya chapter, and after reading that chapter, I couldn't continue reading because I needed to be sitting down in my room and talking about it on camera. I just finished page 311 and we just found out more about Cook's background, and I am very surprised. First off, I feel really dumb because I felt like this is so obvious, but I never thought about it. I never really given much thought about Cook's character. Like, I knew she was a very intriguing character and that I wanted to learn more about her, like I mentioned in a previous vlog clip, but I never really like thought about who she could be or where she could come from. But now that it's revealed who she is and where she came from, I'm just so surprised. And now everything that happened in the previous books makes sense now. Wow. If you've read A Reaper at the Gates and once you learn more about Cook's character, did you see this coming? Did you predict this? Please tell me I'm not the only one who never thought about this. It's 3:51 p.m. I'm going to head to work soon, but I finally finished A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir, and wow. I'm going to quickly put on the dust jacket back on this book just so I can talk about it. So much happens in this book. I don't even know where to begin, but I think I'm going to give this book a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm leaning more towards a 4 stars. I didn't love this book, but I still really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed all of the action scenes. I loved seeing how all these different characters and their storylines are being interwoven with one another. The last 100 pages or so was just super intense. That's pretty much my brief thoughts on this book. So I definitely won't have time to start a new book before I head to work, but the next book that I plan on picking up is Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. I also work tomorrow, and I'm working for most of the day tomorrow. I'm working from 10 to 5, so I won't get a lot of reading done tomorrow. This is probably my last update for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. It is now Sunday. It's the last day of Booktubeathon, and I'm hoping that maybe I can finish this book by the end of the day. I did read 20 pages this morning before I headed to work, but right now it's 6:08 p.m. and I just got back from work like 30 minutes ago. I just took a shower. I'm in my PJs ready to start reading. So enough talking. I'm going to continue reading this book. So I'm only about 40 pages into Moxie, but I'm really liking it so far. I know I talked about what this book is about earlier on in the video when I talked about my TBR, but the main character in this book creates feminist zines that she distributes to her classmates, and I wasn't sure whether or not we would actually get to see these zines in the book, but we did, and I just reached the very first issue and I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. So I can't wait to continue this book and to see more of these zines. I also look forward to seeing how the other students at Vivian's high school are going to react to her zines. So in this book right now, the school administration is going around calling out girls for their dress code. And it's really frustrating to read about, but the book is making a lot of great points to combat this sexist policy. I'm really liking this book so far, and I really like the friendship that's being formed between Vivian and another girl that recently transferred to her school. I'm currently on page 106, and I believe this book is a little bit over 300 pages. And right now it's actually only 7:38, so I think I might be able to finish this book before the end of the night. So I'm going to continue reading now. I'm currently on page 294 of Moxie, and it's only 10 p.m. so I will definitely be finishing this book tonight, and I'm really loving it so far. I think it's so empowering, and I'm currently reading a scene where the main character Vivian is having a conversation with her mother, and I just really love her relationship with her mom. I also really love that throughout this book we have girls supporting girls, and I just love it so much. It's 10:19. I have finished Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. I think I'm going to give this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It's a really easy read. It's very empowering. I really loved how passionate and fierce these characters were at fighting the sexist culture at their high school. One of the complaints that I do have is that I wasn't a huge fan of the romance. I thought it was very insta-lovey. And my second critique is that while intersectional feminism is acknowledged by the author in her author's note at the end of the book and through little discussions that takes place throughout the entire book, this story is pretty much centered around one aspect of feminism, and that has to do with gender. The main character in this book is white, most likely allo cis het. Obviously there is so much more that can be explored with the theme of feminism, and with this book it seemed that the only thing that was being talked about was gender. But other than that, I thought that this book was just so inspiring and powerful. So as a quick wrap up, these are the 5 books that I completed during Booktubeathon, and I'm pretty proud of myself for getting through all these books. The first book that I finished was Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and this is 527 pages. Then I read Sheets by Brenna Thumler. This is a graphic novel. I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and this is 239 pages. Then I finished City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, and this is 285 pages. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The fourth book that I read is A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. I would also give this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and this is 458 pages. And lastly, I read Moxie. Like I said earlier, I would give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and this is 327 pages. So altogether, I read a total of 1,837 pages. At one point in this vlog, I did mention that I was listening to the audiobook of Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I did finish the audiobook, I just keep forgetting to mention it, but when Booktubeathon started, I was around chapter 12, which was page 268, and this book has 502 pages. So after doing the math, I listened to 234 pages of Clockwork Prince, and adding that number to the total page count that I read myself, the total number is 2,071 pages, and I think that's amazing. The only 2 books that I didn't get to was Autobiography by Christina Lauren and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I will definitely be reading this book next because I've heard amazing things about it and I just want to read it. This is the end of my Booktubeathon vlog. If you participated in Booktubeathon, let me know in the comments how many books that you read. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I will see you next time. Bye!